This gives me so much anxiety. Like, I absolutely cannot. I'm not somebody that enjoys chess, Sudoku, a Rubik's Cube, the Da Vinci Code. Like, this is a puzzle that looks insurmountable to me. 272 games, 32 teams, 18 weeks. Behold the 2025 NFL schedule. And we bring you today, and it truly is an honor, a debut on the Up and Adam show, the man of the hour, NFL Vice President of Broadcast Planning and Scheduling for 20-something years, Mike North. What does it feel like?
Okay, good to see you again. It feels good. It's a labor of love. You know, you've talked to Charlotte Carey and Howard Katz and Hans Schroeder before. It is truly all-encompassing, 24/7, pretty much every day since the Super Bowl. And you're looking for the one magical, mythical, perfect schedule at all 32 teams and all 7 media partners and all 6 international venues. And everybody just loves and throws nothing but platitudes and roses and sunshine at you. That's probably not the one we found, but we're proud of it. We're happy for everybody to get to see it, having worked on something for so long. And now, unfortunately, we have to wait 4 months until the season starts. I wish it started tomorrow.
I said that just yesterday. Absolutely. Congratulations. I hope you are getting the roses and the loves and the edible arrangements from fans and the brass. So, like, having done so many of these, been part of so many of these, what makes this schedule unique?
Probably the most unique thing, at least to me, obviously more mouths to feed than ever before. All the streaming partners, all the international games, we're playing Thursdays and Fridays and Saturdays. And the sport is just harder and harder to predict. What do any of us know, right? It's May, and we're trying to project which of these games are going to matter 7 months from now in December. Like, the NFL's really hard to predict. You can have some of your, go-tos, your count-ons, whether it's, all the usual suspects, Dallas, Kansas City, Green Bay, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia. And then there's always going to be some up-and-comers. And we probably leaned in a little more on the Commanders than maybe some people thought. So we need the good teams to be good. We need the big brands and the superstar quarterbacks to be competitive and stay healthy. And then we need all the games down the stretch, like I heard you talking before, Cincy Buffalo and stuff like that. Yeah. We need them to matter, and we need a little serendipity. We need a little good luck to go with, hopefully, all the things that we put in place that we had a vision for, and we'll see if it pans out that way.
Yeah, it's hard you can't predict. I love that you're saying that. That said, last year, I was thinking this morning, like last year, what really worked out? Like, if you're Mike North and you're late in the season, like, what game were you like, yes, week 18 Lions Vikings, right? That ended up being for the 1 seed in the NFC. Incredible serendipity, I guess you'd say, or forethought by you guys. What is the moment last year that you were most proud of that sort of worked out?
Good question. I have to remind myself of how the season ended last year. How about... Oh, I got it. It's actually an easy question, Kay. Last year at this time, you'll remember talking to Charlotte, we had to create something that we'd never done before. We had a round robin Saturday to Wednesday on Christmas, and we had to decide last May which 4 teams who all played each other once home, once away. We're all going to be relevant. We're all going to be competitive. We're all going to be in a playoff case down the stretch to anchor 4 national windows, including our first 2 games ever on Netflix on Christmas, global audience. We got that one pretty right. All 4 teams in it right down the stretch. So I think all 4 made the playoffs, right? Yeah, all 4 made the playoffs. Go. Like, that was a pretty clear crystal ball. Kudos to Hans Schroeder and Howard Katz for seeing that one coming. This year, who's the team that we're counting on down the stretch that we really need to be good? It's a great question. You mentioned Cincy Buffalo. I've kind of got my eye on Philly Buffalo in week 17. Okay. Like, the last time the Eagles and Bills played each other, it was like right after Thanksgiving a couple of years ago. It was a CBS doubleheader. I think it went even to overtime, did 30 million viewers. If Eagles-Bills is relevant in week 17, that's probably a good place for the league to be.
Oh my gosh, I literally love talking to you. I'm like smiling ear to ear.
I can go all day. I love it. I wish to speak with Tyler tomorrow.
I bet you haven't slept. I hope you get to sleep at some point. Okay, so I'm in Green Bay. I'm at the draft a couple weeks ago, a month ago, whatever it was. And then this like schedule release date gets announced, and I'm like, oh wait, hold what? Like it was so like, where is this coming from? And I thought of you, literally at the draft with my nephews, and I go, okay, is this like a great thing? Like Mike and Charlotte and company have it all figured out already, so they're like flexing. Well, let's make a day, or is it like Mike, you were on the clock? Like what did you think of that?
look, you've been doing this long enough. You know, the schedule used to kind of come out middle of April, kind of under the
Yeah.
cover of night, and it was just like, oh, the schedule is out. Okay, well, let's get back to the draft. Now it's become such this tentpole event. The teams are doing all their social media executions. We're trying to line up interviews and podcasts and coaches and players and reactions from the network partners. It's become this big thing, and it's hard to ask everybody to do that with, 24 hours of notice. So we have to give them some lead time. The truth is, second week in May, that's kind of the sweet spot. So, yes, it was a
Yeah.
big reveal, schedule release date, but this is our date now. May 11, 12, 13, 14. This is when the NFL schedule comes out. Post draft, give all of April to the kids
Yeah.
and the prospects and the mocks. And then after they get drafted, now it's okay. We know where they're playing. Let's find out when they're playing 2 weeks until the schedule comes out. And that gives
Yeah.
us just a little time to react if something happened in the draft that maybe wants to shift our focus just a little. I don't think there was anything this year that wildly shifted anything. I think I said this before. We kind of had Kansas City at Jacksonville pinned on the Monday Night Football schedule relatively early in the process. That game only got more interesting when they went up and got the Heisman Trophy winner. So other than that, I don't think anything really changed. But if it had, we had a minute to react.
Love that. I didn't love it for you because I thought maybe it was like a deadline. There's always like a loose
We're always
deadline
on the
to deal
clock,
with
Kay.
that.
You know that. Everybody's waiting.
But then like
They
you have
picked
to
a
give
Pope
it.
before we got the schedule done. They had white smoke before we did.
That's hilarious. And then at some point you have to show the commissioner, right? Like you have to give it, right?
Not at some point, honestly, every day down the stretch, really almost from the day after the draft, we're in his office or at least in his inbox every day. Here's the current version. All right, I like this. I don't like that. Okay, tomorrow, here's an updated version. Okay, well, I thought I told you guys I wanted one more of that team or one less of that team. Here's the next version. So it's not wildly different at that point. We're kind of painted ourselves into a corner. Hans had a vision of how he wanted to treat each of the network partners. We're always sensitive to how we're treating each of the teams. Bad luck kind of moves around. You don't want it to fall on you the same way over and over again. I heard you talking earlier about Ravens, Bengals. Yeah, wave a magic wand. We would have played Ravens, Bengals in Cincinnati on a Thursday night. It's time. It's due. They did get the Steelers at home on a Thursday night. Those are the kind of things that down the stretch could you just tinker with, and what's the impact? With the Ravens having a road Thursday game in Miami on Amazon, you couldn't then have a second road Thursday. So it ended up with Baltimore, Cincy, yes, in Baltimore one more year. I'm sure Bengals fans are disappointed. But like I heard you say, go to Baltimore and ruin their Thanksgiving. Nothing better. If you can't win, ruin their season.
Well said. I love that. Don't listen to anybody complaining.
We
I
listen
hope
to
you
everybody.
Oh, no, don't. Please don't.
They're the
Kansas City.
customer. They're the fans, right? These
Okay,
games
well, the
don't belong
fans have a
you and
lot to
me.
say about Kansas City. Mike, they lead the way with 7 primetime games. I'm not surprised. I mean, this is for the first time in NFL history. 5 of those are in the first 8 weeks of the year. Are you surprised? How surprised are you by how surprised people are that the Chiefs are getting so many primetime games?
Yeah, I think if anybody's paid attention, that's sort of what the Kansas City Chiefs schedule is these days. What do they want? 3 of the last 6 Super Bowls? That puts you into a non-routine scheduling formula. Sundays at noon in Arrowhead are rare. There's actually 4 or 5 of them this year, which is probably more than they're probably used to. But yeah, look, the 7th primetime game, if you will, Brazil, that kind of came about at the end. Always we're going to be earmarked for, 2 or 3 NBCs, 2 or 3 ESPNs, and Amazon or 2. Christmas, they literally raised their hand and volunteered, and you can imagine how excited Amazon was for that, knowing they were going to be on the back end of a streaming triple header with Netflix having 2 games on Thursday afternoon on Christmas and then a big Amazon game at the end. So I don't think the Chiefs were surprised. I don't think the Chiefs fans are surprised. Anybody who's been watching football for the last few years know that's the Chiefs have almost kind of surpassed the Cowboys, really, as the bell cow. And this is what happens when you're pop culture, part of the fabric of the country right now. And this is par for the course for the Chiefs.
Mike, people are going to hear pop culture and think you're doing this for Taylor Swift. That's what the whole internet is saying. But it's more about a belief in the Chiefs as a more, I imagine, global brand and a Patrick Mahomes Revenge Light the World on Fire tour.
Yeah, and if Taylor wants to come, we'll make sure that. And if you want to sing, that's good too. We need an anthem.
Yeah, there we go. The Steelers play week 1 against the Jets. Interesting. Flag for that. Week 8 against the Packers on Sunday Night Football. Where does the Aaron Rodgers world, is he like a ninth partner? Like what, how did you handle him? How are you handling what looks like uncertainty, but maybe not?
Look, you know as much as we know. If we knew anything definitive, look, the last couple of years, Aaron Rodgers' first game with the Jets and then his second first game
Yep.
with the Jets, those were both in primetime windows. I think if we knew anything for certain, you might have seen a Steelers game in primetime in week one. We don't know anything more than you do. At worst, Steelers Jets is Justin Fields against his old team. At best, it's Justin
Yeah.
Fields and Aaron Rodgers playing against their former home. So the Steelers' schedule obviously only gets more interesting if a future Hall of Fame quarterback decides to play, but they're still the Steelers. And, that coach has never had a losing season. They are always in the playoff chase down the
Yes.
stretch. Steelers, Packers still sounds like a football game, like Howard Katz would say. I don't think we overindulged on the Steelers. I think their record warrants some national television exposure and their national fan base. And look, those games only get more interesting if Aaron decides to play again. What do any of us know? But I live in New York. I watched most of his games last year. He still looks like Aaron Rodgers to me. He doesn't seem
Yeah.
like a guy who's ready for retirement. So
I just
what do we
think it's
know? We'll see what
insane.
happens.
It's insane that he's like holding up this puzzle. I'm picturing you with like,
Well,
all
we
the
couldn't wait,
abacuses
right?
and
We
all
had to
the things.
go, right? Especially when the commissioner told the world it was coming out on May 14th. So no pressure on Aaron. The schedule's out. The Steelers are going to be well represented on national television, whether he's there or not. But certainly, I think the fans will be just a little more interested in some games, including probably that Jets
Yeah.
game week one, if he's under center.
I'd be excited. I'm excited. I think it's like weirdly a safe thing. Speaking just in terms of like the Steelers deserve the prime time. Look at their record. Look what they are. Look at they are perennially.
Yep.
The Vikings have 4 standalone games in the first 5 weeks. So I'm going to see a lot of Vikings. This is JJ McCarthy's welcome to the NFL moment. I believe is Monday Night Football against the Bears.
Yep.
I said that they're winning the Super Bowl. Like they have to win it. Does this mean that y'all are as high on the Vikings as I am?
Well, that's a 14, 15 win team from last year. It's not like we're taking a
14.
flyer, right? That coach
Yeah.
seems to be able to win with whoever he has playing quarterback. And the last time we saw JJ, he was winning a national championship. So I think we believe in the team. Yes. I think Monday Night Football of week one. Yep. Kind of welcome to the NFL, JJ. You're on the national stage against a team that arguably won the offseason, right? They added pieces in the draft and free agency and got the hot coach that seems like he could have gone anywhere, and he chose Chicago. I'm sure he has his reasons. So Bears Vikings, Howard Katz would say again, sounds like a football game. It's a great bookend to a week one with a lot of really good stuff in it, right? You talk about kickoff with Dallas, Philly. You've got a doubleheader game of Detroit, Green Bay in Lambeau on CBS. 2 NFC teams playing on CBS. Sunday nighter, a Balt Buff, and then the Monday nighter, Mini Chai, and all that didn't even leave room for a Pittsburgh Chicago in prime time. So, and doesn't even account for Friday night in Brazil. So a great week one all the way through. Excited for it. And yes, JJ will have his welcome to the NFL moment and then go get to spend 2 weeks in the UK. They're doing the back-to-back. Steelers in Dublin, Browns in London, and going to stay over there. First time we've had a team do that too. So a lot of new stuff for the Vikings this year.
I love that. We're on a TV break now. We're still very much live on YouTube going to get this content out. You mentioned Friday night YouTube. So, Mike, you didn't have enough distribution partners to deal with. Like they were like, this is getting too easy for North and Carrie and company. YouTube, part of the family now. Big game right off the bat. What makes YouTube unique?
Well, they've been part of the family, right? They've got the Sunday ticket package, so they've got the out-of-market games. YouTube TV is a partner. A lot of fans get their games from YouTube TV. I don't have it, but I understand you could do the multi-view and you can pick your own games in the 6 or 8 windows. Like a lot of people speak really highly. And yeah, when you have an opportunity to bring a partner into a bigger role and have them do something that they haven't really done before, they haven't produced an NFL game before, so they're going to have our friends at NBC actually produce the game for them. And those are the guys that produced the Brazil game last year for Peacock. So they've got that experience. It was a wild success last year with Packers Eagles. And you start thinking about a Chargers Chiefs game. Those have been really good games the last couple of years. They're always tight, always come down to the end, usually high scoring. And, 2 playoff teams and 2 superstar quarterbacks. Fun way to start the season. And the fact that we could use Friday night again this year because of the way the calendar worked. We start earlier with Labor Day so early. Yeah, kind of a chance to run it back. Good success last year, Friday night in Brazil. Let's do it again.
Can't wait to see. Last one for you. How close are we to 2 bye weeks?
It's a great question. It does feel like there's a lot of momentum for 18-2, or at least an 18th game in the regular season. But don't forget, we were 40 years at 16-4, right? We've only
Yeah.
been 3 years at 17-3. I don't think this is coming tomorrow, but it's obviously a lot that we've been talking about. And if we could swap out as fans one preseason week for a regular season week, that's great. The challenge with the bye, honestly, is going to be really twofold. Number one, if you talk to Dawn Aponte and Jeff Miller and our health and safety guys, they'll tell you that it's not the short weeks, it's not the long travel where you see the injuries spike. It's after the bye week because the players are out of the
Oh,
building, they get
yeah.
into their routine, then they come back and they have to ramp up real quick and go play a game that matters. We only have 17 of them, they all count. So you got to ramp back up quickly. I think we're seeing more injuries post bye than really anywhere else. So do you want to add a second bye? That second sort of, chance to
Oof.
get hurt? That's a question. And then the other thing, at least as a schedule maker, as a fan, love it. Obviously, regular season, 20 weeks of football, please. As a schedule maker, though, you guys know, you look at the schedule and you see some weeks right in the middle where you've already got 6 teams on bye, you've got an international game, you've got a Thursday game. Those Sunday afternoons, they get a little thin. You might only have 5 or 6 total for CBS and Fox in a weekend. We're going to add 32 more buys to this puzzle. We're not going to do it in weeks 1, 2, and 3. We're not going to do it in
Right.
weeks 18, 19, 20. So that's a couple of more games every week in the middle of the schedule that are going to have to come out if teams are going to have to catch their buys. And now a team's going to need separation between their 2 buys, their buys and their Thursdays, their 2 buys and their 2 Thursdays. It's daunting mathematically. So I'm not sure 2 buys is a given. If it is, we'll figure it out. But there's definitely some unintended consequences, some downstream impact on the poor schedule makers.
You've literally put my head in a pretzel there. Like that is unbelievable. I'm so thankful for you as a fan. Like that you handle all of this, that you do it so well. NFL Vice President of Broadcast Planning and Scheduling, Mike North. Thank you. I got. I'm not going to bring him on with you. Don't worry. But I got Joe Shane here. And I'm sure he wants to talk to you about that. He'd love to talk to you about the strength of schedule on the
Well,
Giants.
the strength of schedule is out of our hands. That one had nothing to do with us. That's just rotation. If he wants to talk about the primetime games, that he can give me a call. But he certainly
Okay.
knows where to find me if he needs.
Because those first 4 weeks are a little daunting for those Giants. I appreciate you, Mike North. You get out of here. I'll separate the two of you. And